This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. It goes unsaid that we have a problem with our Supreme Court in this country. They are rogue. They are partisan. They have a full third of them have been appointed by Donald Trump, who was not democratically elected, who didn't get the popular vote, and it was confirmed by a Senate that actually represents fewer Americans than the Republican Party than the Democrats do. It's just a mishmash of anti-democracy on full display because our system is broken, and it was set up hundreds of years ago by men who thought that it was okay to own human beings as property. Argue with that. It's a fact. So John Roberts, the Chief Justice, appointed by another Republican who never got the popular vote, George W. Bush, he made some comments, and he's pushing back. One, he's just outraged that the Supreme Court needs security. And then he goes on to talk about how he's considering cleaning up the mess of the ethics of the Supreme Court, even while his wife is earning like $10 million a year from law firms because she finds them employees. Seems like you might save some money, law firms, if you go to LinkedIn or maybe Indeed.com. This episode brought to you by Indeed.com. It's not. So he made these comments. He was speaking at, the American Law Institute's annual dinner where they were giving him an award. And he made these comments. I'm going to play this. There'll be the timer at the top. So if you want to skip past it or skip through, you'll know when I'm coming back. But I want to talk about these particular specific comments that he made and how arrogant it is that he believes he is immune from ethics or ethical conduct standards that the rest of government and the rest of us are subject to. Watch this.
But if he were alive today, the contrast between his efforts and things going on outside his chamber would be deeply disappointing to him and would feed certainly any depression. There's much in the legal arena that he would find abhorrent. Judge heckled and shouted down at a law school, protesters outside the homes of justices, to the extent that martial protection is needed 24/7. In 18 years, I'm asked, well, what was the hardest decision I had to make in 18 years? Was it this First Amendment case? Was it that death penalty case? Was it some major separation of powers case? None of those. The hardest decision I had to make was whether to erect fences and barricades around the Supreme Court. I had no choice but to go ahead and do it, but while it was going on, while the fences were going up, I kept hearing Charles Evans Hughes's remarks at the opening of the Supreme Court building. He said, "The Republic endures, and this is the symbol of its faith." But inside the court, there's cause for optimism. I am happy that I can continue to say that there has never been a voice raised in anger in our conference room. Our court consists of 9 appointees by 4 presidents. We deal with some of the most controversial issues before the country, yet we maintain collegial relations with each other. When I wander down the halls and see a colleague, I am always happy to have the chance to chat. Now, to be fair, there are many days where I don't feel like walking down the halls, so you may have to discount that a little bit. And on a final issue of concern inside the court, I want to assure people that I am committed to making certain that we as a court adhere to the highest standards of conduct. We are continuing to look at things we can do to give practical effect to that commitment. And I am confident there are ways to do that are consistent with our status as an independent branch of government under the Constitution's separation of powers.
Oh, how sad for you, John Roberts, that judges get heckled. Judges who impact the lives of millions of Americans, They feel inconvenienced that people are unhappy. They feel inconvenienced that someone sits outside of a restaurant that they're eating in and protests. This is the consequences of your actions. This is the consequences of your fascism, John Roberts. You preside over a MAGA court. You preside over a radical political institution that just stripped away bodily autonomy from over half of the United States of America, allowing states to run roughshod over constitutional rights, over privacy rights, over healthcare decisions. But you're going to sit here and say, I can't have my martini in peace. People are unhappy. The peasants want to tell me what they think. I never thought I would have to consider erecting barricades. Maybe do some self-reflection, John Roberts. Maybe you and your colleagues should take a moment and think about what you have done, what you are doing, and what you will continue to do. And then, of course, when he says, I want to assure people, oh, thank you for instilling such confidence, John Roberts. I want to assure people that I am committed to making certain that we as a court adhere to the highest standards of conduct. Ignore the fact that my wife made $10 million last year or whenever it was. Ignore the many luxury yacht vacations that are being given as a gift to Clarence Thomas. Ignore the fact that a billionaire is buying the property, the home of the mother of Clarence Thomas, and then allowing her to continue to live there. Ignore the fact that this same billionaire is paying for the school of the child that Clarence Thomas is raising as a son. Just ignore that. Ignore the fact that these legal organizations are funneling dollars to Jenny Thomas and then saying, ooh, we want to keep her name off of this. We want to keep it secret. Ignore that evangelical religious organizations are having private, secret prayer meetings with Republican justices. Let's ignore that. He's committed, everybody, committed to making certain that we as a court adhere to the highest standards of conduct. It doesn't seem like you are, John Roberts. We are continuing to look at things we can do to give practical effect to that commitment. Are you continuing to look at them, John Roberts? I am confident. Oh, your confidence gives me wild confidence, John Roberts. I am confident that there are ways to do that are consistent with our status as an independent, put a little stank on it, independent branch of government under the Constitution's separation of powers. Fortunately for you, there is a Republican House of Representatives because, as you well know, I would assume, being the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of these United States, you know that the Constitution gives the Congress the power to organize the courts. And come 2024, hopefully the American people know it too and elect Democrats in a wide avalanche of support so that the Democrats will hopefully take it upon themselves to organize the courts, to stack the Supreme Court, to force upon you the ethics standards that you heretofore have denied. Gross. Disgusting. You and the rest of the Republicans, the MAGA adherents, the cult members in Amy Coney Barrett. What do you think out there? I'd love to know. I would love to know. The disgust is not for you. The disgust is for John Roberts. 714-576-4054. That's where you can leave me a brief voicemail. You can also email me the old-fashioned way at daily@dollemore.com. I'd love to see you there. Follow me on social media, at Dollemore, just about everywhere. And subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I'm trying to get to 500,000 subscribers by the end of the year. It is only with your help. It's only with your help that I'm going to be able to do that. If you want to support other ways, you can click the join button below. For $2 a month, you can become a channel member. You can give a donation of support through Super Thanks, the other little button there. Or you can go straight over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast and help support my work there. I love you guys. I appreciate you very much. And I am going to see you next time. Tomorrow, be genuine. Get fired up. Convince somebody to vote. And take care of one another.